So that's where the budget went. Welcome to the Palace of Shadows. Not exactly the home of the Shadow King, as the name might make you think, but the Realm of Shadows does seem to be Stonekeep's version of either Hell or Purgatory. And hey, we got a different background tile set. Wow! Guess they finally ran out of excuses to use the Shargamines one.
Drake, listen to me. I have little time before he notices, and all my trapped power is being used to create this vision. Heed this warning, my champion. Trust those you know, but all is not as it seems. This place is but a shadow of what is real. And a shadow is a reflection.
I'm not sure why Thera talked about a vision, considering that I could only hear her. Maybe there was supposed to be an image of the actress playing her in the intro overlaid over the screen here. Anyway, lots of illusionary walls in this place, and you can definitely see the theme of reflections and shadows in this one. On the other side, I find the exact same room with the exact same set of bottles. And passing here causes this wall to close. Oh! Up ahead we have the first set of enemies in this level. Unlike the Gate of the Ancients, we're actually going to be doing some fighting in here. But Enigma got him before it got a good look at him. There we go! Flying skulls. Not only do they like to bash into you, but they can also shoot energy bolts at you, which seriously weaken your party. That can make them pretty tough enemies. Since you'll be getting weaker all the time, your blows will do less and less damage, while your resistance against them is weakened as well. In the wall here I find a blue yin symbol, or yang symbol. Kinda hard to tell when they're not black and white. We'll just bring that along and see if we can find something to complete the set. And here's the other type of enemy we're gonna come across here. Skeletons. Still at least as tough as the one we fought in Entrance to the Temple of Froggy. I'll chow down on a green mushroom since it cures the weakness that the skulls inflicted on me. And let's take the warhammer to this guy, because crushing weapons, heavy crushing weapons like this, do the most damage. My armor combined with the protective spells make it so this guy can't actually hurt me at the moment, which is a little pathetic, but it won't protect me from all the enemies here. And after a while he collapses, but the skeletons in the Palace of Shadows have a very unique trait. And he reassembles, yeah. Let's hit him with the sphere rune, that does some crushing damage as well. If you don't pick up at least one of the 3 items that these skeletons drop, they will reassemble infinitely. There we go. I'll just grab the broadsword that it dropped, and now it won't assemble anymore. There's another way to easily fight these skeletons. A spoil spell rune powered up with a power 3 meta rune. That instantly reduces them to a punchable pile of bones, which also means they can't reassemble themselves. Unfortunately, that spell does consume quite a lot of mana, so it's not really doable to use this on all of the skeletons you come across. In fact, I'm just gonna run past these guys. Here we have a dark mirror, which you can step through to teleport somewhere else. Okay, I guess that was a little trip through Purgatory, and it teleported us into a completely different area of the palace. Lots and lots of long corridors. I think this level might actually be the biggest one in Stonekeep, but since a lot of it is straight walking, it doesn't take quite as long as some of the other levels we came across. This fairy rune is the same spell that is cast on Drake when he uses the Orb of Azrael. You can try casting it on your party members, but it doesn't actually seem to affect their attack speed. On we go.
Hey, what was that? What? I thought I saw something on the other side of that wall.
Yep, now that we no longer have Farley, we have Sparkle to point out these illusionary walls. And a very short skeleton comes walking our way, so let's back off. More and more skeletons. Stepping through that illusionary wall would have avoided this encounter, but I'm just gonna run past them anyway. There's no real advantage to fighting them. And there's plenty more where they came from. Never mind those guys. No luck getting through this shadowy barrier here. So let's move on and try again later. What's happening?
Greetings again. Have a moment. What do you want, Goblin? Bah. About time we spoke again. Then appear and we can do so. What are you doing?
It is time for us to join forces, Drake. As you may guess, it was I who saved you that dark day so long ago.
You? Why?
Bah, don't be such a fool. We can profit together.
And since neither of us trust the other, we can venture without trouble. I don't think so.
I don't say this is an easy thing to do, but I have no reason to harm you. I helped you long ago.
Maybe.
And I help now. Wuka must be stopped. I know this.
But why you?
There are riches ahead. I can smell them.
I'm sure you can. Very well. Join us.
Oh, I already have. I already have.
Yeah, you can definitely tell we're heading into the end game because now Wuka has joined our party. He has the highest possible health in the game, 240 hit points. And his other stats are quite good as well, though they don't really matter because all he does is toss little fire bolts. Unfortunately, unlike Sparkle, he doesn't cast any other spells on your party. Wuka's just looking out for himself, apparently. It is a little sinister to have him join your party, since Lady Ayane warned that he might be more than he appears to be, but the entire last part of the game starts to speculate on how Wuka might be more dangerous than he appears. Never mind that for now, he's now a member of our party, so let's focus on our enemies. Lots and lots of winding corridors, disappearing doors. Palace of Shadows is pretty hard to get your head around. Once you've mapped it out a bit, it starts to make a little bit more sense. Also, lots and lots of friggin' skulls everywhere. Oh, speaking of skulls. They seem to hit each other just as much as they hit me, but I definitely want to avoid them as much as I can. Oh. Can't hit me now. They sure do make a lot of noise, though. I'm sure you have absolutely no idea where I'm heading right now, but I'm heading northward again. Another pair of tiny little skeletons. Back to the area where I picked up the blue yang symbol. Alright, let's go toe-to-toe with some of these skulls then. Ooh! They are doing some damage against me. I'd better run. And I jump through another dark mirror. This one doesn't lead to a lot of whimpering and whining by spirits. Instead, it drops me off at the exact opposite point on the other side of the map. The mirrored area, if you will. And the enemies on this side are slightly different from the ones on the other half. But we'll meet those in time. Here in the wall, we find a red half of a yin-yang symbol. So let's see what happens when we combine the two. Strange sound from the left, and a door has appeared. There we go. And of course it disappears as soon as we step through it. Oh well. Gonna make sure I'm rid of all weakness. What's that sound? Oh dear!
Mortal fools, you dare think you can free my little family? Begone!
Oh! That hurts. And that's the sort of encounter you can't actually avoid. You definitely don't want to have Drake too weak in this encounter, otherwise the push can kill him. Of course, Kulkum is gone. The corridor doesn't lead anywhere, so let's just keep going. Oh, that is one heck of a big orb. How are we going to get this out of the way? Well, remember a little rune I found in the sewers? Which I got by opening a chest with a key I got from Wuka, who said it was the key to our future. Well, that finally pays off here. Using the shrink rune lets me pick up the orb.
I can feel the power in this orb. Strength is running up my arms. I have been given the strength of Mari himself.
Are you in danger?
Nay, friend. The feeling is good. The strength is righteous.
Your aura glows stronger.
We must proceed with caution now. I feel this is a critical time. We must go quickly to Thera's temple and free the orbs. Kulkum must have planned for this to happen. And I do not think he would be so forgiving of our intrusion after this point.
So, we have Marif's orb. One of the last orbs we find, actually. Switch in this wall opens the way back into the rest of the palace, and the same thing over here, so you can pass from one half of the palace to the other. Let's proceed down this crossway first.
Drake, over here!
Wait,
Drake, over here!
that voice. Can't be.
Farley, I thought you were banished from your people.
I was. I traveled to Chok-Higoth, the Dwarven capital, and made my peace with the elders as is our tradition. They absolved me, and I was no longer an Ook to Goth, but Farley Malastone once again.
Then what brings you here?
Couldn't let a friend down. And besides, this time I got permission. I spoke with the Queen, Iani. You are summoned to her side.
Really?
Truly, this is great news.
Nuh-uh, I don't want to go. You need me.
Don't worry, Farley is here. He can help us. Correct?
Aye, that is my duty.
I can't wait to see my friends again. That is, my other friends, Drakey.
I understand. Return home in Thera's safety.
I'll see you again someday. Toodaloo.
Good to have you back.
There's a job to finish, and I'm good at finishing what I start.
Right. Farley, this is Enigma. An honorable...
Elf, I can see.
Drake has spoken favorably of you, dwarf.
And I speak favorably of Enigma. He has earned my trust, like you have.
Drake's trust is enough for me. Well met, Enigma.
Well met, Farley. I wish it was a different place.
Agreed to all. Let us journey on, shall we?
So, if you hated Sparkle, you can be happy now because Farley has returned to our party. With slightly better stats, in fact. It's hard to tell, but his journal entry is slightly different from last time, and all his stats have gone up a bit. But he's still the best there is with a hammer, so let's give him the War Hammer. And put the golden chainmail armor that we found in the ice caverns on him. Plus some magic armor rings, of course the magical shield, and one of those helmets that come off the skeletons. There we go, now he's outfitted for battle. I don't want to ruin anything, but the first time I came here and Farley rejoined my party, I actually thought it was going to turn out to be some kind of imposter. It's just kind of weird how he somehow managed to reach the Palace of Shadows before me, not to mention how he just dismisses Sparkle like that. But nothing like that is going to happen. The Stonekeep team really just wanted to reunite you with all of your favorite guys. At least now we have a melee fighter with us again. Most of the enemies we come across here like to get in your face. So all ranged fighters aren't going to do much good. But I am going to miss Sparkle's spells, the healing spells and the armor spells. Those were pretty nice. Incidentally, forgot to mention this, but picking up Marif's orb added 2 more points to my strength, nearly maxing it out. Also, carrying his orb has made me almost impervious to weakness effects. Oh, let's run. My party actually isn't too bad at dealing with these skulls. Oh well. Here we have another illusionary wall. With a sign. Well, neither Enigma nor Wuka is volunteering a translation, so let's use the reading rune.
Light and darkness form together. Form my strength. Form my shape.
If you remember from the Gate of the Ancients, I read a sign there that said a weapon was hidden in the shadow. Well, we just found it.
There is a mighty weapon in the making.
Bah, it is worthless without its mate, that is. Do you want to trade it?
An ancient relic. Use caution.
So right now this just appears to be some kind of weird little cross thing. We need to find the other half, and it only makes sense that we would have to go to the exact other side of the map to get it. And of course there's another illusionary wall here and another sign on the wall.
I am of darkness and light, and together with my twin form the weapon of twilight, the weapon of shadow. Fear me. Fear my powers, shaped as shape can be.
Shaped as shape can be? Really?
I wonder what will happen when we bring both pieces together.
Proceed with care.
Bah, put it together. It must be very magical.
I agree with the elf. But I am myself curious.
Well, let's just put it on a pedestal. And there we have it, the Weapon of Shadow, or Twilight Weapon, whatever. It continually morphs into 5 different forms, and you can pick one depending on which weapon you have the best stats for. It turns into an axe, a sword, a spear, a dagger, and a hammer. I'm just gonna grab the sword. I have pretty good stats for that. It's a very heroic weapon. And there's one other thing of interest about it. It's the only two-handed sword in the entire game. And for once they actually made a separate animation for that. See? 2 hands on the sword. Even though the sword still looks like any other. I mentioned that the enemies on this side of the level are slightly different. They are shadow versions of the ones found in the other half. It doesn't change that much, except that they don't leave behind any skulls, and they're susceptible to different types of weapons. Of course, that doesn't really matter now that I have this shadow weapon, because absolutely every enemy is weak to it. Just 1 or 2 blows will kill any enemy I come across now. Pretty sweet. Alright, let's proceed down this shadow version of the level. Everything in this level is mirrored on the other side, including chests. So let's stock up on potions. The shadow skeletons are also slightly different. They won't reassemble after they drop down, they will just disappear. And unlike the regular skeletons, you can actually step through them, except there's a danger of getting poisoned when you do so. That's not really gonna happen now because Drake's stats are too strong for that. Oh, there goes Farley. Poor guy. I'm pretty well defended against these skeletons, but my party members aren't really. Let's perk up old Farley a bit. Yes, for once I'm actually feeding him my potions. Guess I've grown soft in my old age. Alright, I once again want to go all the way north. Back to the area that I started out in. Nothing much of interest in these halls. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Another bunch of shadow skulls knocking at my door. Oh. But really, there's no fun in me standing here and slashing at them. Let's just keep running. This level can be quite a bit longer if you actually stop and fight all the enemies. Probably takes about twice as long. Really glad to have this shadow weapon now, though. Oh! The physical skeletons are, of course, already in the room when you step into it, but the shadow skeletons will rise up out of the floor. Slight difference. Alright. There's a big rectangular corridor here, with a crossway. When you step towards it, a wall snaps shut. But you can pass through these illusionary walls in the sides and step into the center, which teleports you into a different area of the map, where we are greeted by a shadow skeleton who quickly lays down. Yep, we're in an enclosed area now.
I am he who traps without energy. None can escape my influence easily. I am at the center, yet I am everywhere. I am the giver of life, and I am the destroyer of all. My domain is my own, and none shall surpass me in my life.
The closer we get to the ending, the more the Stonekeep team seems to throw weird riddles and unexplained flavor text at you. I think in this case the sign refers to Kulkum himself, since the sun is the giver of life, and could be the destroyer of all, and I guess in a way he traps without energy. Not that it helps me in any way. Alright, back to that crossway, because where the central teleportation square ends you up differs depending on from which angle you enter it. Let's see. Yep, another shadow skeleton. We ended up in a different area this time. Here's a strange glowing ball in the wall which doesn't actually seem to do anything at first. But it's similar to the statue that you find at the Temple of Froggy in that you can use your rune staffs on it to recharge them. So let's cast some spells on the party and recharge all our rune staffs. I'd be kind of impressed if you find this out on your own. There we go. And since you might be getting tired of walking sounds, why not toss on a silence rune? Quick look at the map here to orient myself again. And we once again head north, because we're pretty much done on the right half of the map. Now I want to head over to the left side, the physical side. Well, looks like my protection against these skulls isn't doing so well anymore. Anyway, I want to head over to the physical side of the map, so I can teleport into the mirror versions of those little rooms I just visited. It's not necessary in order to finish the level. I just want to show it off. Oh, and I haven't gone through this door yet. Let's see what's behind that. Here's another area that I already visited on the physical side of the map. Not yet on the shadow side. I went to this area's physical version very early on. At the end of this set of corridors, there's yet another dark mirror to teleport through. It's a twin of the one I stepped through the first time, which means we get another round of whispers. Well, pretty sinister. Apparently in the unpatched version of the game, stepping through those dark mirrors that would cause the whispering could trigger your printer to print out a message. I think that would have freaked me out pretty bad. Would have been a neat scare though.
What does this mean?
And where we found the quickness rune on the physical side, we find a different scroll on this side. Doesn't make that much sense. Yet another piece of empty flavor text, though going by the name of Morpheus Blackstaff, I assume this scroll was left here by one of the Dark Warlocks of Ys. Not sure what it means though, it seems to be some kind of curse. Oh well. Let's silently proceed through these halls. Hey, there's a dark mirror on the wall. Oh, and a shadow skeleton smacking me in the back. Let's take care of that first. There's something different about this mirror. Let's have a look at it. Hey, it's me! Ow! Yeah, it's a mirror reflecting a naked Drake, and he fires firebolts at me. Let's heal up and see if we can take care of this handsome devil. Smash! Well, one hit with the shadow sword is enough to break it, and we pick out a shard of the broken dark mirror. What use is it? Well, we'll find out just about at the end of this level. And the way to the left here would allow me to step across to the physical side of the map, but I want to hang around here for just a little while longer. When I was in this area on the physical side of the map, just before Wuka joined my party, I came across a shadowy barrier that I couldn't pass through. Now that I have Marif's orb, I actually can. But I'm gonna proceed on just a little bit further. Still lots of areas not filled in on the map, but I don't have to visit everywhere. Another chest we hadn't found yet. Containing lots more healing potions. They definitely know what you need in this level. Let's see here. Door behind me has disappeared, but well, I've already been in this area before. Let's make a quick dash back to the northern part of the map. Probably should have dropped the teleportation rune somewhere to take me there a little bit quicker. But since these are all long corridors, it doesn't take that long to get back to where you started. Didn't really leave anything alive in here, did I? Oh, shouldn't have said that. More shadow skulls. Definitely not impervious to these guys just yet. Oh, what a barrage. Well, never mind. We're nearly completely at the north point of the map again. And I think it's time to step back into the physical side of the map. So let's find a way to get to the other side again. Like the shadow mirror that's to the right here. You can hear Drake moaning in the background. Stepping through the dark mirrors causes you to be struck with some weakness. Even Marif's orb can't protect you against this. Shadow weapon still kicks ass though. Alright, Let's try and get into the center of this area so we can teleport into the mirror versions of the two rooms that we visited earlier. Obviously, just as the ones I visited first had shadow skeletons, these ones have physical skeletons.
Where the reflection does not reflect, bind the shadow by destroying the magic.
Alrighty. That is actually a legitimate clue to finishing this level. Let's make quick work of these tiny little skeletons. The unpleasantness of fighting two skeletons at the same time is that it's kind of hard to pick up the remains of one while you're still fighting the other. And yeah, this one already reassembles. They do seem to get a bit weaker if you've already struck them down once. But I'm just not going to bother with this one. Okay, let's get back into the center. But this time approach it from a different angle. So we can visit the last little hidden room. Oh. These are definitely some tougher skeletons, or I'm in sore need of replacing my protection spells. Probably the latter. Here's an oddly racist surprise. It's an orb that, when rubbed, only heals Drake and any dwarves in his party, in this case Farley. Sorry to Enigma and Wuka, but guess you guys just aren't good enough. Well, I have most of what I want filled out in the map now. I think it's time I head back to that dark barrier and step through it. That does necessitate going back north once more. Passing through this room with all the skulls. Never mind them, guys. Just don't give them any attention. Okay. There's that little skeleton I left alive. Oh, there was one more skull hanging around here. Okay, that's where I want to go. That's where the dark barrier is on the map. Which means I have to go through this door again. Where I first showed off how I fought skeletons. And at the end of this, we step through the dark mirror yet again. Which means we get one more round of ghost whispers, but that's the last one. Well, that was a lot more upsetting than the last ones. Apparently Drake just met the spirit of his dad or something. Let's shake it off and proceed along these everlasting corridors. Let's use the illusionary wall this time to bypass a bit. And pass through this barrier. This, unfortunately, also puts us in the path of the boss of this level.
Trespassers! Trespassers! Prepare to meet your doom! I am the scourge of life, the scourge of light, and the scourge of hope. I am Scourge!
Yay.
Hello, Scourge. A trio of rotating skulls, which each have different effects against you.
You shall pay for that! It has been a long time since anyone has caused Scourge such pain!
Unfortunately, the shadow weapon makes rather quick work of him.
Pay! You will pay!
And as a result, I don't really get to show off this fight as well.
Darkness. It is so dark. So dark. Cool, my lord, be
skill. And I was here. There was no chance of failure.
Well, Wuka, you were a coward in combat. Anybody could see that.
And any fool could say such rubbish. Bah, let us move on. I do not think we have time to argue over the lack of dwarvish intelligence. There is treasure to be found.
Well, that was pathetic. Normally, you wouldn't be fighting Scourge with the shadow weapon and it would be a lot tougher. One of the skulls steals hit points, one of them steals mana points from your rune staffs, and one inflicts weakness. Anyway, forget about that for now. Pressing that switch opened the door to a dark mirror, and this one actually teleports you to a different level. But since in playtests it turned out to sometimes be a one-way trip, I'm just gonna drop a translocate circle down here, so I can bring myself back just in case it happens again. There we go. Let's have a look. And we are back in the Gate of the Ancients. The pits, to be exact. Yeah, and normally this sign is supposed to have been replaced by a dark mirror, but for some reason, because of some glitch, it doesn't always happen. Which can be quite annoying if you have to walk all the way back to the gate again. Luckily I have a mana circle here to recharge me, and of course the teleportation rune. Interestingly enough, the sign that would have gotten replaced by the dark mirror is the one that warns you about Scourge. Let's see if there's anything else hidden in these walls. There's a switch here somewhere. There we have it. Opens the wall behind me. And there's a trap in the corridor here which sets off a gas cloud. But it doesn't harm you unless you actually stand still in it like an idiot. There's some chests at the end here, which contain a few more life potions and some stat raising potions. That sure is nice, since Drake's stats haven't really raised up on their own much lately. Obviously, if I find this hall of items over here, I'm gonna find the exact same set on the other side of the map. Interesting. On this side of the map there's a little niche. We'll check that out later. First, let's open the exact same passages that we found on the opposite number. Pressing the switch here opens another way to a dark mirror. Obviously, I'm going to place another teleportation rune and see where this leads me. The Temple of Froggy, that's quite a few levels back. Luckily, at least this time, the dark mirror properly forms on the wall. Not much of interest to find in here. A couple of roots on the ground. And a switch which lets you into the rest of the level. Nice. Well, if you wanted to make a trip back to some previous levels, this might have saved you some backtracking. And just like on the other side, there's a switch in the wall here, which leads me to another predictable gas trap and some chests, which contain pretty much the exact same thing, which means more stat raising potions. Something weird with the sound in this level, which sometimes causes this odd crunching noise to be heard. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be part of the soundtrack. It's kind of unnerving though. Anyway, before we go in and inspect that little niche, let's consume those stat raising potions. First they build up Drake's agility, and then they start building up his health. Nice! Now Drake's health maxes out at 200 points. Which is gonna come in useful since I'm nearly at the end of the game. Alright, let's see.
There's something about this area. I do not know what, but it feels cold, even to the bottom of my soul.
Bah, you fool. Can't you see with more than just your eyes?
I don't know.
Hurry, must I do everything for you?
I'm not sure what is happening here.
Bah, remember the sign, the prophecy on the wall. Destroy the magic, it said. Well, do so.
There are several ways to do this, but the easiest way is to use the shard of the dark mirror that I broke. Like this.
When I look through this, I can see something. It's a doorway.
If you're in a hurry, you can also use a spoil spell rune or just a plain wind rune in order to make this door appear. Well, that's the end of the Palace of Shadows. Let's head upstairs and shake hands with Coolcoom.